Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be doing my episode review and reaction to the Season 2 finale for Zoo, which premiered earlier tonight on CBS. It was something, that was for sure. Okay, before I start talking about it, I start talking too much, of course, please be advised and warned that I will be discussing big spoilers regarding the season finale for Zoo. There was a lot of crazy shit that happened, and there's a lot to talk about. So please be warned that if you're not caught up on Zoo, do not keep, or just on the season finale, do not keep watching or listening, as I will be going into massive spoilers and details as such. So you have been warned. That being said, if you have watched it, please keep listening and watching this video, as I will be discussing what I think, and I hope you agree with me. It was definitely different. There was some stuff that I thought was going to happen, and other stuff that totally caught me off guard. I suspected Davies was going to die, that one of our main characters was going to kill him, or he would be ripped apart by animals when he's about to kill one of the main characters, and thus he gets the bloody end that he deserves. And then all of a sudden, when he decides to cancel the no objective because he believes that there's no point in pursuing it since the new animal DNA was destroyed by our heroes, he's about to say call it off, and then instead his second in command kills him by snapping his neck and then wiping out the rest of the men and then taking our heroes back to safety. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this guy is either with the Pangaea organization, the Shepherds as they call themselves, or Raiden Global, or something like that. I don't know, but I was like, okay, well that's the end of Davies, good riddance, but not the end I was expecting. And that also applies to this season finale as well. It wasn't exactly a cliffhanger, but it definitely made us scratch our chins going, and also, huh? Because they didn't quite explain why the Shepherds were happy with the no objective going through, despite their birds, the carrier of the cure, being spread all over the world. My assumption was that they turned out to be some kind of doomsday cult where they worship the end of times and that they want most of the human race to be extinguished and possibly all life on Earth, including the animals. But that didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I wish they had done a better job of explaining why the Shepherds wanted this to happen, because we're under the impression they didn't want the no objective to happen, but clearly they did. They celebrated that fact, combined with that their carrier birds also were released upon the world. There was no scene where they stumbled upon a survivor in the compound after the hybrid razorback wolf attack, or whatever those things were. They looked like hyenas more than wolves with like spikes on their back. It's like, okay, so they don't encounter any survivors of the hybrid attack. Nobody's in the compound to explain why they did what they did. And that kind of pissed me off, was like the lack of explanation. And then, of course, they can't ask Robert, because at first I thought he died in a form of redeeming himself by saving his son, thus saving the human race, or so we thought. But it turns out he pretty much made certain that the human race would never repopulate again, because as they explained, during the no objective, the TX gas was used not to exterminate the animals and all the people with the ghost gene, but instead it sterilized the human race. So only people like Abraham and Dariella, who were going to have a baby together, their child might be one of the last children born ever. And I was like, huh? So the plan with the Shepherds all along was to use the no objective to their advantage and thus sterilize the entire world? What is there to gain by that? Is it because they were such hardcore animal believers and sympathizers and supporters that they wanted humans to be just as depleted as animals are? Because now, since the human race can't continue to populate, obviously, as we saw in that final scene. Flash forward, 10 years later. 10 years later, Abraham and Dariella's son is graduating elementary school, going into middle school, and his class is the last generation of elementary age school children, because once they enter middle school, it'll be high school, and then after high school, there will be no more children left, ever. So this is like the last group of children ever in America, at least, or probably throughout the world. And now 10 years later, they're still dealing with killer hybrid animals. And if it's not just the hyena slash wolf slash razorback pointy spike creatures, what other animals are out there. Also, incredibly sad moment when Mitch decides to sacrifice himself. A beautifully done scene, but when I realized that we don't actually see him being ripped apart, but it's just implied when we see his glasses go flying forward and bloodstained, and we hear tearing of flesh sounds, it's like, oh yeah, he's dead. There's no way he could survive that. But then the final scene, grown-up Clementine says, oh yeah, he's alive, because I'm his daughter. That's how I know. Dun, dun, dun! How could he have possibly survived that? Like, unless somebody on the island was there who stumbled upon him, how could he have survived that? Because even Abraham said, we went back to Pangaea after the fact, and we found no body, no nothing. So how could he have survived that? And what's coming next that Mitch needs help saving? Like, are we now talking about a new animal uprising where the hybrids are going to try to take over, and when people die, there's going to be nobody left to repopulate the earth because the human race is all infertile now? I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed most of it, but parts of it really made me scratch my head and chin going, wait, what? What? It didn't necessarily anger me. It more confused me. I think the thing that angered me more was the lack of explanation as to why the Pangaea people wanted the no objective to happen and were happy with the fact that it was happening, with the combined with their birds that supposedly carried the cure all over the place. Another thing that bummed me out was that obviously I knew not all of their problems were going to be solved in the finale, because the show's been renewed for a third season, so obviously you're going to have a storyline which will just bring the conflict into season 3. So I knew they weren't entirely out of the woods yet. What surprised me, though, is that it seems like they set it up where season 3 is going to be about dealing with hybrid animals instead of regular killer animals. Because that's one of the things I loved about the graphic novel, was that it was about this animal apocalypse. No mutant animals or mutant humans, just crazy animals going nuts and teaming up to attack human beings. And it seems like they've kind of abandoned that plot line, and now they're focused on killer hybrid animals instead. I mean, I honestly, there's a part of me that hopes that season 3 is the final season, if that's the route they're going, because I don't know how they're going to keep that interesting. I honestly don't. I would prefer to see just regular killer animals over hybrid animals, because I thought the way this would end is that, the plan would start to work and then something would go wrong with the cure as they attempt to disperse it, and then the no objective would somehow fail, and all of those people would be spared, but the animals would still be running rampant and crazy, and then the world would finally enter full-on apocalypse mode with total loss of power and communication, a loss of establishment, the government, and the foundation of the world. No more organized government, no governing powers, nothing, and then the world just descends into chaos, into an apocalyptic situation, an apocalypse where animals now rule the earth and the humans are on the run. See, I was hoping to see that ending for the season finale. Instead, we got a time jump of 10 years later. The Earth has seemingly returned to somewhat normal. There's a huge military presence because obviously killer hybrid animals are still a huge issue. Mitch is somehow still alive, surviving his hybrid killer attack. No explanation what Jackson has been up to. I'm assuming he's still a scientist. Jamie's obviously become an author who wrote an entire book about their whole experience from a decade ago. Abraham is now raising his family, his son with Dariella, obviously, being one of the last kids left in the world. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed most of it, but like I said, there were parts of it that made me just go, huh? And what? And huh? But I'm going to try to keep an open mind about season 3. I'm going to watch season 3 because I just have so many burning questions that are just in the back of my mind. And I'm curious as to see what kind of storyline they're going to go for here. And maybe season 3 will be its final season. I mean, unless they can come up with some compelling reason to keep the show on and make it just so interesting, we have to keep watching. Obviously, I think they lost a lot of their fan base when we all thought Mitch had died, but now they're making it sound like he somehow survived and has been alive for the past 10 years. I don't know, it's hard to say, but I'm going to keep on watching. I hope you guys do too. At least we'll get through season 3. Because season 3 is happening. It's coming. It'll be premiering probably around the same time next summer, mid or late June of next year, 2017. So stay subscribed to this channel for further updates and continuing coverage on shows like Zoo. Thank you so much for watching this review and reaction video regarding the season 2 finale. And thank you for joining me as we enjoyed and watched season 2 of Zoo. I'm interested and curious about season 3. Hopefully I'll get more excited about it as we get closer to it, but it is happening. And thanks again for watching season 2 with me. Don't forget to check out my Facebook page in the description down below. I think you'll like what you see. Have a great rest of the night, everybody. I'll catch you next time. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.